Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the show. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about if she disrespects you, she can't love you. And I do these YouTube lives every Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm adding on to a Sunday Express episode, which is about 30 minutes, talking about my past topics that I've done before, and just more in a consolidated form. Anyways, if she disrespects you, she can't love you. And my recap episode of today is going to be masculine energy grows through challenge. And if you guys are interested, this is a topic that I've done in February 10th of this year, 2024. And the slide that I'll be talking about today is the purpose of masculine energy. So let's talk about masculine energy, okay? So that we could totally understand exactly where you have gone wrong and where you could fix things if she disrespects you. Now, masculine energy is active. It's assertive. It's focused. It's focused on achieving goals. It's focusing on breaking through barriers. Masculine energy is also cool. You're calm and you collected. And it's, like I said, it's breaking through barriers, overcoming challenges. It's having a purpose in life. It's having a mission and a focus. So everything is about moving forward. It's solution based. How can I fix this? How can I make this correct? That is what masculine energy is. And a lot of times when people think about masculine energy, especially these guys that have a good front, they're very good at not taking shit from other people. They're very good at not taking shit, meaning like, oh, if you're gonna disrespect me, I'm going to defend myself. That's great. But a lot of guys that has masculine energy, because masculine energy doesn't have a gender, but most men kind of relate to having more masculine energy. They tend to not only focus on not taking shit, but they don't really focus enough on not losing their shit. Now, we're all human. It all happens to everybody. And from time to time, even myself, I tend to lose my shit. And because I lose my shit, I have to figure out, well, what happened? What caused me to lose my shit? Because that is not masculine energy. When you lose your shit, you're no longer masculine. You are becoming more feminine. So if you continuously lose your shit over and over again, your lady, your woman in your life will not respect you. She can't respect this man that constantly loses his shit. Hello. What is this? Hello, everybody. I am doing an I'm doing a YouTube live on if she disrespects you, she can't love you. So if you guys are interested, I do relationship topics. Thank you all for stopping by. Hello, I have a plain speakers. Okay, so my friends are also listening to you. Hello, Crystal's friend. All right, so masculine energy grows through challenge, okay? It's often associated with strength, leadership, and power. The goal of masculine energy is action. It's taking action. So in short, masculine energy is outwardly towards the world, while feminine energy is moving towards, so into your heart. This is where feminine energy relies on. It's feeling based. Masculine energy is very logical. We like to solve things. We like to figure things out. So feminine energy is becoming receptive, kind of quiet, intuitive, very nurturing, creative type of energy. So it is associated with grace, love, and beauty, bonding, connecting, opening up to receive love, connection. So if you think about this in the term of how a relationship fluctuates, right? Moving back and forth, how does it work? If you think about masculine energy as the man, assuming that you're the guy and assuming that you're the masculine figure in that relationship, how does that relate to you? Well, masculine energy, you stay focused on what you need to do. It doesn't mean that you play games. It doesn't mean that you neglect the person that you love. And feminine energy is going to want you more because why, you start acting very attractive. And when you act attractive, she has high interest in you. And when she have high interest in you, she's not going to want to leave you. If anything, she's going to want your attention more and more and more. And if she falls in love with you, she's going to want your attention all the time. Women that are in love with you will want your attention all the time. So it's a compliment. And for most guys, they don't have this type of quote unquote problem where the woman wants him all the time. More often than not, you're going to get a lot of guys that complain about, oh, well, you know what? I'm not getting enough. You know, she's not willing to have sex with me, or she only gives me this pity sex once every 2-3 weeks, or even once a month, just so that he could, release pity sex. That's first of all, you do not want to be in that situation. A guy that is in his masculine, he's going to have more sex than he could ever want from his lady if you're doing things properly. And if you're over here in the comments and you're complaining about a lot of things and you're this dude and you're supposed to be this masculine figure, well, guess what? You're not getting a lot. Okay, so it really depends. Where are you at and where do you want to be? So that's the major question. Now, there's nothing more attractive for a woman than a guy who is confident with himself, in control of his own emotions. Nothing more attractive. So, being emotionally regulated, remaining in a center. Now, oftentimes we lose our center. And as a masculine figure, it's how well you could remain, it's how well that you could get back into your center. My girl's crashing out right now. Life gets exciting when you give it meaning. When you lose yourself being busy and being productive, you don't have time to be fearful. You don't really have a lot of time to worry about what may or may not happen. And think about it like this. If you're this masculine figure, you're cool, you're calm, you're collected, you don't take life too damn serious, and you're out there, you're having fun, you being playful, you have playful banters. Think about what happens in a date and how you court and ask her questions, and you kind of tease her, you make fun of her a little bit. You're not taking it too serious, she's not taking it too serious. You guys are having a good time. She's going to want that more and more. And whatever she feels from you within that date, or however she feels towards you, that's what she's going to associate those feelings when being with you. So when it comes to being a man, when it comes to being a guy, masculine figure, how are you going to portray that? That's just being hi, sorry to brag, but all right. Now, why respect is important in a relationship. My girls, now I'm paying the price. Well, you came to the right place. Okay, so why respect is important in a relationship. Okay, so if she disrespects you, it's a clear sign she doesn't care. And I'm going to explain why you might deserve better. Okay, and no woman that loves a man will ever disrespect him. No woman that loves a man will ever really disrespect him, because she's afraid of losing him. Not that you want to put fear into relationships so that she doesn't leave, but it's more like, well, you're becoming this very masculine guy, you're grounded, and sometimes maybe you lose your center. Why? Because we're human and things happen. And when you deviate from being in the center, it's also how fast or how quickly you could get back into your center. Because hey, you know what? People lose their shit sometimes. I do too. But it's how well you get back into that. And then you're going to naturally attract these ladies back into your life. So if she disrespects you, she can't love you, right? You don't want to put fear, because that's not love. That's not what love is. Love is about giving, and love is allowing, okay? And so if you think about it from this perspective, if you are a valuable guy, and you have to understand how the market works. What is the number one most attractive thing to a woman? What is the number one most attractive thing to a woman? It is confidence. It's how you portray yourself. So how do you build confidence? By going out there and doing things. So what does that mean? It means action. Going back to what I was talking about with masculine energy is about doing things, taking action, breaking through barriers, overcoming challenges. So if you're constantly doing things and you find that 1, 2, 3 things that you really enjoy, keeps you happy, you're excited about life, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be exceptional at the things that you do. And when you become exceptional at the things that you do, you start loving what you do, people can't take their eyes off of you. And eventually you're going to be obsessed with it. And then you're going to continue to do exactly according to what you deem is valuable to you. And if you live life based off what you deem is valuable to you, no other people out there can tell you otherwise. Hey, you know what? You're probably not really good at this. Or, hey, you're probably not supposed to do it. Like, what makes you qualified? I hear people say shit like that all the time. But then again, I know it's like, well, what are you doing with your life? And usually these are more likely than not people that are telling you that you can't do certain things. They're not doing very good themselves. It's funny how people that have the worst relationships are always trying to give me relationship advice. I'm like, okay, I'll listen to you, but I mean, take it like a grain of salt, right? Me as a girl, even if I didn't like the guy I'm with, I'll talk to him. Even if I really didn't like him, I tell him I don't like him and that I think we should break up, but I'm single. Okay. So first of all, Summer, what you just described to me is that, so you're a girl, and if you don't like the guy, you tell him, and you tell him that you don't like him. So wait, I tell him I don't like him. So he's already, no woman will ever tell a guy, hey, you know what, I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. It's only because if he's displaying too much attraction when you're not ready. So the key thing is you want to go slightly slower than she does. That's it. Go slightly slower. When the signs are there and she's ready to be touched, then you touch her. What does it mean by touch? Well, okay, she's interested. She's walking next to you, right? You're walking down the street. Her arm's bumping into your hand constantly. Well, maybe you could go hold her hand because proximity is power, right? So if she's already putting herself into your orbit, all you have to do is just get closer. She wants to be around you. She wants you to hold her hand. Why? Because she's interested. Any girl that says, I don't like you, it's because he's displaying too much attraction when she's not even invested yet. So the main idea is to go slightly slower than she does. It doesn't mean you play games. It means that, you know what, you gauge it based off your calibration. So it's how well you can calibrate, how well you know how to adapt. So read the signs and learn it. So you want to add more value so you become more irresistible. How's everyone? I think it's about the energy. Yep, absolutely. If it fits both, absolutely. Do you like romance? How was your day? Okay, moving on. So why is respect important in a relationship? Well, respect is actually about freedom to be yourself, who you are, and to be loved with being who you are and being unapologetic about it. In the beginning, just like anybody, you know what? I always love Pokemon. That's the thing. I love Pokemon. I like it. I will buy it. I will invest in it. But after, when I was a kid growing up, there was a time where even if I walked into like a card store or past a Walgreens or Target, I'll be like, nah, I don't want to look at Pokemon cards. Why? Because it's kind of childish. Like I grew up with it, but now I'm grown. Or I was a teenager. I was like, yeah, you know what? It's not cool anymore. But deep down, I always liked it. So I was like, why did I put that down? Well, I was worried about what other people might think of me. But if I just stay consistent with who I was and just be like, yo, I like this. This is what I like, and I continue doing that. Well, guess what? People that will like me for liking Pokemon, they will stay. People that won't like me because they think, oh, you being too childish, those people, they could go away. I don't need those people. what, almost, if not already 8 billion people on this earth. You don't need those other people that is not willing to understand what you like. So main thing is to gain respect, you have to respect yourself, right? And you have to be yourself and loving what you want to do, and that's who you are. So while respecting your partner or anyone else around you, it's just as important to respect yourself. You must come first. In order to have that, you must have self-respect. And this is the law of attraction, right? Like attracts like. So self-respect is acceptance of yourself as a whole, and be unapologetic about it. It doesn't mean that you're perfect. No one's perfect. In fact, everyone deserves respect even though we are not perfect. That's the main idea. Self-respect means you hold yourself up to your own personal standards. Now, everyone's standards are a little bit different. Some people standards are higher, some people are lower. And it really depends on what they prioritize. You could literally look at somebody, just look at them physically and see what type of standards they hold for themselves. And that means that your goals and your values should be aligned, okay? You should also not worry about too much about what other people might think of you. Respect and love is it's synonymous in a relationship. You can't really truly love somebody if you do not respect them as an individual, because you will see them as less than you, and that's not really love. It's like you're trying to be a tyrant. And more often than not, I always hear relationship where the guy, or even sometimes the girl in the relationship, where they're just constantly talking down on about the other. Why would you ever want to be in a relationship with someone that you don't respect, or maybe you're the one that's being disrespected? It's like that really shows who you are as a person and what type of beliefs and values that you have for yourself. So whatever we think about, that's what's going to expand. If you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not good enough, this is who I'm gonna get, that's the law of attraction. So you really have to think about where you are, where you want to be, and how can I get there? So these are all great questions to ask yourself. A couple can be okay for a while, but if one move to another level, the relationship will go away because they search different things. Yes, so you have to have similar goals and similar values. Maria, yes, I am. I'm a relationship coach, but I also mainly focus on self-reliance, because you could being a coach, being a relationship coach is important for a lot of people, but nothing will ever work if your philosophy is not there. Because I could give you all the tips, all the tricks, this is what you can do, but if you don't truly believe it in yourself and your own philosophy, or the philosophy that I'm trying to convey to you guys, you're not going to remain that sustainable type of success. You're only gonna have like, oh, she's not talking to you or he's not talking to you right now. Well, guess what? This is what you can do, and this is how you could get his attention. But more often than not, most people, they don't just want that one attention. They want it consistently. So if you don't change who you are, nothing's gonna change. Unless you change, nothing else will. All right. So next, let's talk about disrespect in relationships. Okay. And from my coach, Coach Corey Wayne, he said, no one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. Say that again. No one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. So think about it in this context. Whatever you tolerate, you invite more of it. Whatever you tolerate, you invite more of it. If you allow, say, you allow your lady in your life, your guy, you watching this, right? You allow your lady in your life to talk down or say something like, hey, stupid, hey, and then you just let that slide. Eventually, she's gonna keep pushing that and see how far she can go. A woman's job in a relationship sometimes is going to constantly test you no matter what. It doesn't matter where you are, because feminine energy is chaotic. crazy. Ladies, y'all watching, you know you're crazy sometimes. You laughing because you know it's true, okay? I know it. I have to understand why you're doing it. And that's my goal. And to explain it to you guys. So you guys are a little crazy because why? Feminine energy is a little uncertain sometimes. You're uncertain. I don't know what's going to happen. So you like to test men. And when you test them, you want to see, is he still the same person that you think or you thought he was 5 months ago, 5 years ago, 50 years ago? It doesn't matter. You will constantly test. I feel like respect is different than love. Some personalities are toxic, but capable of loving. What do you mean by that? Super. I also have, I live in Romania, so cool to change ideas. Okay. You know what's crazy about this too? It doesn't matter where you're from. Women still respond the same way. They respond the same way. It doesn't matter. Maybe you have a little cultural difference, or maybe you have a different religious background, but you guys still respond the same way. You guys still respond the same way. Okay, anyways, going back to what my coach said, no one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. So whatever you tolerate, you invite more of it. So a common sign of disrespect in relationships are things like silent treatment or, stonewalling. So an example is like, look, I'm not going to talk to you right now. I'm not going to talk to you because I don't want to communicate. And to me, that's not a loving relationship. A loving relationship means that, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm a little frustrated right now and I can't talk to you because I'm in my feels. But I'm going to eventually talk to you, and I'm going to confront you with this problem that I have in my mind, but I just need a little bit of time. Now, stonewalling, on the other hand, or silent treatment, is like, well, look, I'm not going to talk to you for about 2 weeks, maybe even 2 days. 2 weeks, 2 days, doesn't matter. Well, until I feel like you deserved enough punishment, then I will talk to you. That is not a loving relationship, and that's not how a loving relationship works. So if you want your relationship to flourish, you have to make sure your communication is locked down. So and whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. So if they give you the silent treatment, what you can say is, look, I understand you don't want to talk, but eventually you're going to have to. And I'm not going to stick around and become your punching bag just because you don't want to talk to me right now. I understand we all don't like things sometimes, but you have to be willing to communicate so I know exactly what is bothering you. If you need some time, maybe a few hours to collect yourself a little bit, fine. But it should not take 2 days or 2 weeks. That is not loving at all, and that is not what I stand for. And I will not be in a relationship where I am going to be continuously be a punching bag. That is not what I signed up for. I signed up for a loving relationship that is easygoing and easy to get along with. And right now, this is not easygoing and easy to be along with, and it's not fun. I'm not gonna sign up for that. So basically, you're conveying to them, look, I'm not going to take this. I'm going to walk away if you're going to continue doing this. And it's not an ultimatum. It's more about respecting yourself. And if you respect yourself to walk away from a situation like that, they know that, hey, you know what? I don't want to lose a good person in my life. The girl I'm with right now, we're off and on, but we have our moments. But I know doesn't mean what she says in the heat of the moment and vice versa. What's up, Jordan? Snap. Continue more about that. So I would like to know a little bit more about that. But anyways, I'm gonna move on. Jealousy. A little jealousy is fine, right? Because people get jealous all the time, and it happens to all of us. It happens to me too, but it's how you respond. Most people react to jealousy. How do you respond to jealousy? So how you respond to jealousy is, well, what is this person doing? And a lot of times with jealousy, it has a lot to do with what yourself is, of who you are. Because look, I used to be jealous where if another guy tries to talk to my girlfriend or my ex at the time, ex now, but my girlfriend at the time, I would get a little bit like, oh, defensive. Like, why are you talking to my girl? Now I'm in a different place. If a guy talks to my girl, no problem. I know she is totally capable of letting him know, like, hey, I have a boyfriend. And if he continues to do that, then I will step in. Because first of all, in a relationship, I'm 110% trusting. I trust you. Trust but verify. But I trust you 110%, if not more. The reason why is because I wouldn't be in a relationship if I couldn't trust you. Because I know I trust myself in a relationship. I know I'm not going to do things that's going to make you feel like, oh, is Mitchell doing suspicious things? I'm not going to do that. Hands down. I'm not going to do that. Now, that also means that I have to vet properly. I have to make sure that this person is who she says she is going to be. So I have to vet properly. And most people, they could hide themselves for at least 90 days in a relationship before habit starts to be breaking. So if you think about it in this term, women will vote with their feet. And when they vote with their feet, what you could focus on is their actions. What are they doing? So are they constantly, when you're talking to them, are they not giving you any attention? Or when she's always smiling when she's texting somebody, like what's going on? What's going on? Trust but verify. You always want to trust but verify. I was doing with my boyfriend. Oh, okay. What if there are things that you don't share with your partner? Is that being disrespectful? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? We've been together. Snap, you said we've been together for about a year, but I feel like our bond is strong. If anyone saw a relationship from the outside in, we're fighting. Excuse me. Outside in, when we're fighting, they would say the respect isn't there, but the love is. The respect isn't there, but the love is. Okay, that also tells me a little bit about what's going on. Men who understands women, I'm gonna say this, okay? Men who understands women don't argue with them. You don't argue with your lady, you will never win, okay? Men who understands women don't argue with them. I don't care who's telling you, like, oh yeah, arguments are normal. Yeah, it's normal because a lot of people do it. You know, a lot of people also eat McDonald's and, you know, shove junk food down their throat every single day. But is that considered normal? So it really depends what type of standard that you're putting for yourself. And Crystal, elaborate a little bit more about, like, what are you not telling them? Okay, where am I from? I'm from the city. I'm from the city where Steph Curry's at. All right, so jealousy, okay, it's how you respond to it. Most people react to it, okay? And you know, with jealousy, it manifests into a lot of other things, like being too possessive, right? And in that type of relationship, you just have to trust. If you don't trust your partner, you're not gonna have a fun, loving relationship. Every single moment, it's like, oh, what's going on? Why? Who's texting? It's like, look, if people are gonna text me, it's what I do with that. That's how you could show you through actions. You have to show through actions, okay? Now, number 3, betrayal, okay? So another sign of disrespect is betrayal. Acting in an intentionally dishonest way, purposely being intimate, for example, purposely being kind of intimate with people of opposite sex. So I've heard recently I even heard a story about my coach. He was doing a video newsletter, and there was this guy that was in a relationship with this girl, and recently she just got into, I think it was like rock climbing or something like that, and so she already disrespected him. She already kind of, she has one foot out the door, but they're still quote unquote exclusive. Like the title's there, but her heart's out, right? One foot in, 1 foot out. And during that time, while they were, say for example, because she got into this rock climbing thing, she has a group of friends, right? She's not inviting him to things as much. It's if you love your boyfriend, if you love your husband or whatever, you're gonna invite him to places where you would want his attention all the time. Now I understand that you must have your own things, but if there's parties, a group of people, especially opposite sex, that for sure that person has interest in you, you're going to tell that person off. Now in this situation, what ended up happening was The guy was being disrespected. The boyfriend was being disrespected because this other guy was like, when they were all sitting down in this table, she didn't even sit next to her boyfriend. Matter of fact, her back was turned. That's already sign number one of disrespect. Number two was when he sat next to her, this other guy that was in a rock climbing place, sat next to her. He kind of sat back, laid back, and put his arm around her chair. Not necessarily touching her, but it's like, hey, you know what? If I was that guy, I'd be like, hey, you know what? That's kind of disrespectful right now. She's my girl. And then he could be like, oh, you overreacting. It's like, well, baby, come over here. Sit over here. And it's not being overly protective. It's like, look, traits like that, if she allows things like that to happen, then it's already a clear sign that she doesn't really respect you. And now on top of that, since, he didn't really know much, he allowed that to happen. Whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. And so at one point, the other guy from the rock climbing, let's call him Bob number 2, all right? Bob number 2 put his hand on Bob, which is the boyfriend, girlfriend's leg, and it was like skin on skin contact. It's like, okay, at that point, she's out. She's out. I will leave. I'll be like, look, I'm not gonna sit here and watch this. And on top of that, I was like, hey, you know what? That first of all, that's disrespectful. She's my girl. And then on top of that, I'm gonna look at her and I'm gonna be like, look, if you're gonna allow this to happen in front of me, then this is not going to be a relationship. Like, I'm not signing up for this. It's betrayal of trust. That's not what I signed up for. I signed up for exclusivity. Did I say it right? Exclusiveness. And I'm not signing up for this. There's not monogamous. And if anything, we could be friends with benefit, but that's about it. And also, that shows who she is. That shows her character. And a person that's willing to allow things like that to happen in a relationship, that already kind of displays her character, and character is destiny. Most relationship that starts in betrayal, like cheating, what that starts with cheating, 95% of the time it ends in cheating, because what ends up happening is emotion goes up and down. At any moment, there's going to be a bigger dip into your relationship, and that's a real test of how much she respects herself and respects you. Because if she's willing and allowing things to happen, what makes you think it's not going to happen to the next guy? So usually when things like that, those are already red flags to me. I'm not going to allow that shit to happen. Look, if you don't want to be in this relationship, that's fine. If you're already allowing this to happen, like maybe you missed it. Maybe you didn't vet properly. And then you learn from that. But then it's like, well, then you have to look at her background. You'd be like, well, how did she grow up? Did she grow up? Did she respect her father? Or was the father browbeat by the mom in the relationship, where he's biologically a man, but he's acting like a bitch? Because if you act like a bitch, she's going to treat you like a bitch. That's the bottom line. All right. Now, last but not least, talking down. Making it seem like it's a joke. Oh, you taking it too seriously. Like, that's disrespectful. Okay? Now, how it relates. How does it relate? And I'll share one of my stories, okay? I'll share one of my stories. And this is basically how it kind of bled into my personal relationship. And this has everything to do with what I allowed in my life. Whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. And so this wasn't even direct. And even though it wasn't completely direct, it still permeated to my personal intimate relationship with my now ex-girlfriend. Okay? So I allowed a lot of things to happen. And you know what? Just looking back, I learned a lot. And so that's the beauty of it. And that's life, right? And we learn from this. So this is my story. And I'm just going to read it out. All right? So I've used to look up to someone. And let's call this person Bob. Okay? I'm going to use that word a lot. So get used to it. Bob. And who I thought had my best interests at heart. And it wasn't until I realized that I was only convenient to that person. I was only as good as I was convenient to that person. And once I was no longer a benefit or accessible to Bob, I was no different than the people that Bob would often talk down behind the backs. So when Bob was talking down on like, oh yeah, you listen, you see this person, blah blah blah, like once I was no longer accessible, I was in the same category. Bob talked down on me so much. So I will always help Bob and seek, I don't really look for anything in return. I never look for anything in return. I was like, yeah, I help Bob. I look up to Bob. I respect Bob. There wasn't any respect back. So, but I allowed it to happen and things happen, right? Favors eventually felt more like ultimatums. So Bob would ask me, hey, what could you do this? And I'd be like, oh, yo, you know what? Right now it's not the best time. I have this, I have that. And then ultimatums start to happen, right? Like, oh, this is not what happened when I was helping you with this. I didn't see you complain when I was helping you with this. So ultimatums, like it went downhill, right? So like I said, but if I ever decline any type of favors, Bob would not hesitate to not only give me this ultimatum, Bob will lash out and tell me all the things that Bob has done for me. And I let it continue. And then it went into my romantic relationship. So then my ex would see that. And anytime Bob would ask me to do something, my ex would be like, damn, like Mitchell, anytime Bob asks you to do something, you will put everything down just to help Bob, just so that you can make Bob happy. I was like, yeah, I look up to Bob. I look up to Bob. But it's like, in other words, she was looking at me like I'm this bitch. Excuse my language. And I was a bitch. And I was like, damn, like I can't believe I put up with that. But that was because I was unaware. I didn't know I could stand up for myself. Holy shit. Being aware, right? So, like anyone would, I got upset, especially when my ex told me like, why are you doing all this thing? And then Bob doesn't even respect you because of that. Like, it's kind of like you doing it because you owe him, not because you're doing him a favor. I was like, I don't know. So this led her to believe that she could walk all over me personally. And this is how women test. And if she, in her mind, she's thinking like, damn, like if Bob could kind of like talk down to Mitchell or have Mitchell do X, Y, and Z, what makes you think that if another person that he respects, well, I gotta test him. I want to make sure that I'm safe in this relationship. So that was what's going through her mind. And so I allowed it to happen. And guess what happened? This led her to believe she could walk all over me. Right. On top of that, I was also not displaying any type of behaviors that I showed any type of respect for myself. So I was constantly being angry. I was overly emotional. I would yell. I would scream. I would be upset. And I was like, God damn, like that is nothing more than a bitch than anything. And I didn't know that. I thought that was normal. Whatever you think normal is, right? That's your story. And so that's what I was like, hey, people get mad all the time. And when you get mad, you yell and you scream and you feel a little bit better. But guess what? All that bullshit is an illusion. None of that shit really fixed anything because I didn't do anything to fix that. It wasn't until I realized that when I was reading this book, I was like, light bulbs just keep popping out. I was like, oh my God, I did that. I was like, holy shit. And that was part of the journey where I was like, wow, like I have a lot to learn. And it was through that process, I was like, wow, it's never ending. And you're only doing this for yourself. So this is why I teach self-reliance, because at one point in my life, I was in that same situation, right? So now moving forward, I would constantly get mad. I would constantly get angry. I was at a job that I wasn't really happy about. I was like, it pays the bills, right? There were many variables in my life that all led me to being unhappy with where I was and the decisions that I was making. The moral of the story is a woman can't respect you if you can't even respect yourself. Because I was being pushed around by Bob, right? She saw that there was an opportunity to disrespect me. I was also not acting masculine at all. I didn't have any goals in life. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Here's a great thing that didn't know, I had a lot of interest in a lot of different things. So I always like dancing. I always like Pokemon, right? There's certain things. I like video games. And these were the things that kind of stuck with me. But it doesn't mean that I don't prioritize what I need to do. So prioritize taking care of your physical health. Prioritize taking care of your mental health. Prioritize making sure you're emotionally regulated, emotionally stable. Why? Because eventually life will test you enough to move you off your center, especially as a guy. And when you being tested and you moving off your center, it's how quickly you could solve that problem so that it doesn't come back again. Or you'd be like, damn, I recognize this problem. Let me take a step back. So a lot of times, one of the biggest things I've learned was when I'm mad, I always learn to take a step back. Taking a step back has saved me so many regretful decisions, okay? Please keep to yourself. Oh, please keep yourself and take care of yourself. If Bob does that again, well, there's more to that story. So, let's see. Because yeah, I was being pushed around. Although it wasn't direct. It was Bob to my relationship, right? It was Bob to my relationship. And it wasn't direct. It still showed some sort of form of disrespect from anywhere. And at that point, I realized, I was like, dude, I'm not going to take any fucking disrespect from anybody. I don't give a fuck who you are. Look, I get it. You're upset. You're angry. That's not how you talk. That's not how you talk to me. And if you're going to continue to talk like that, I'm not going to have a conversation with you because there is no conversation. You're just yelling. I'm not going to talk. So peace. Talk to yourself, pretty much. So have enough self-respect to love and value yourself, to walk away and never look back. And that's exactly what I did. Because most people don't change. And I've been doing this for years now. Okay, I've been doing this for years. And till this day, I'm still learning. And so for somebody that says that they're actually seeing a difference, well, watch their actions. If they say they want to be better, watch their actions. What are they exactly doing to improve themselves? Okay. Now, I have my last slide. It's how to regain respect. So if you lost respect, how will you regain that back? Okay. Oh, my friend used to do that all the time. And I fight for my life to get my name off the line. Yeah. So if you lost respect, how do you gain it back now? So in order to regain respect back, we have to understand first, how did you lose it? And how you lost it could be by, number one, not standing up for yourself, becoming overly emotional, being argumentative, in other words, being weak. So say you're in a relationship and you're the guy in the relationship, or if you're watching this and you're a lady and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm being disrespected. That's anyone that loves and respects and values themselves. They're not going to stand and, first of all, you're not going to argue with them. But then you're also going to be like, well, this is not what I signed up for. And this is not very loving. And that's not how you talk. And at least that's not how people talk to me. And I'm not going to tolerate that. Remember, whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. So there's a strength in your actions and in your words. Okay. Also, if you pair your words with actions, people will trust you. If you continue to do this consistently, if you pair your words with actions and you do it consistently, guess what's going to happen? People will not only trust you, they will eventually respect you even more because your words are your bond. Especially if you're the leader and you're this masculine figure in this relationship. It doesn't matter if you're in a gay or lesbian relationship. It doesn't matter. What matters is it's how you act. So, why women test? Kind of glossed over this earlier, but why do women test? They test for strength. Women aren't testing you for physical strength, though. They're testing you for your emotional strength. Not how much weight you can lift. Sure, that's kind of important in case shit really does hit the fan, but she's testing your emotional strength because most guys tend to lose their shit. So, this is their way of saying, well, this is how I'm gonna have my certainty. This is her saying this. Feminine energy. This is how I'm gonna get my certainty. This is how I'm gonna have this form of security in this relationship. That's so that she could trust herself to be like, okay, that was a stressful situation. Mitchell didn't lose his shit. On top of that, he's not bothered with my emotions. He's not bothered. Like, regardless of how she's acting, I'm unbothered by her ever-changing emotions, because woman, your emotion changes just like the weather. Okay, it's like you can't. It's like stepping outside and getting mad at the reason why the sun's not out and why is it raining, or looking at last week's weather. You know what I mean? I'm a woman, so I think I know the answers to test for strength to see how strong you are. And especially if you're with that person for a long time, that person could press you all the time, okay? Family members, they know exactly, especially your mom or your dad or whoever that took care of you when you were a kid, they know how to press your buttons, all right? My girlfriend tells me to go out and give her space. It makes me so mad when I want to chill. That means just smothering her. No one, I've never had a girl, well, I'll take that back. Ever since I started this journey, I never had a girl ever tell me to give her space. If anything, she's like, well, how come you're not spending enough time with me? I'm like, baby, I love you. I care about you. But I have to go work out. I have to go to work. I have to do certain things. I have to do this because this is where I want to be. How about this? And then I schedule a time. Let's have a date on Saturday at this time. And then I still keep it a little bit mysterious. Where are we going to go? That's going to be a surprise, but it's going to be a place that you like. And I have options. So just in case you're not feeling that one day, well, guess what? I still have a different spot for us, all right? They also test you because to see if you're emotional or you're like emotions and your personal strength to stand up for yourself. Yep, absolutely. So, self-respect. I'm not going to tolerate this bullshit. I'm not going to tolerate it. Even if it comes off as a joke. Shut up, dumbass. You're not going to call me that. Oh, I was just joking. Okay, yeah. There's certain ways to joke, and that's not how you joke. That's not how you joke. Family is always pushing your buttons, and they know what bothers you the most. Okay. Absolutely. They know you in and out. Okay. But how to regain respect, okay? Why do women test? So they're testing for your emotional strength, the certainty for security in a relationship. She's testing to see if you're going to be emotionally stable or unstable when things really get down or when shit really hits the fan. Women do this instinctively because feminine energy is being unsure. Feminine energy is uncertain. They need certainty. But also, if you think about it, our 6 basic human needs is certainty, and we also need some sort of uncertainty because we need one and the other to kind of balance it off. Imagine playing life on God mode and no one could touch you. You could always like put in cheat codes and get all the money. Life would be boring. No one could touch you. You walk down the street, a car hits you, the car breaks. It's like, I get it, you're Superman, but even Superman has that kryptonite, right? So it's like life needs that balance. Off topic, Mitchell, can one tip to help you have good energy? Well, you gotta love what you do. So think about it like this. I was in your position at one point. Okay, is it crawl? At one point, I woke up one day and I was like, damn, like I was upset. I was also depressed, and I was like, man, like I don't really have anything that I want. I don't know what I want to do. Like life's kind of sucks. I have a job, but I don't really care about it. It's like I don't even give a shit if I get that paycheck, but I'm not gonna go in and work and not get paid. You know what I mean? So one of the best advice that I've heard recently, and it's perfect for this topic, is you don't have to know exactly what you want to do in life. You just can't do nothing. You have to be doing something with your life. You have to do something. So by doing things, you're doing a lot of trial and error to make sure to like, look, do I really like this? Do I really enjoy this? In the beginning, I doubted myself. I didn't know whether or not, damn, Mitchell, am I going to be successful? Am I going to be successful in learning this? Because people started questioning me. Well, Mitchell, you're not married. Well, what is your certification? Well, how do you like? Well, first of all, I was like, I was just starting, so everybody has to start somewhere. And then they're like, well, how was your past relationships like? So I was like, look, I might not have all the best relationships or as much relationship as you have, but I have a coach and I have a mentor. Just because I'm not the star player in that team doesn't mean I can't be the coach on the sidelines to see what is going on. So even Steph Curry has a coach, and he's one of the best players in the league. So if you think about that in that perspective, it's like it almost got to me. It almost got to me because it's like, wow, I started questioning myself. I was like, damn, but I ended up doing it anyways. Why? Because I liked it. I enjoyed it. And then the more I did it, the better I've gotten. Victoria Win. What's up? Thanks, bro. Yeah, for sure. You miss 100%. Yep. Chances you don't take it. Absolutely. So I was like, I'm gonna do this. I like it. I'm gonna try it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. So I ended up doing it, and I was like, damn, I'm learning a lot. And of course, down the road, I still, I stumble across some, because if you think about it like this, on YouTube and you're learning, you're reading books, whatever information that you get it from, you also got to verify it. You want to make sure. You want to hear the opposing end. It's like, that's why I like it when people challenge me, when they say, hey, Mitchell, I think you're wrong. And I'll be like, then give me some perspective, because I would like to know what you're thinking. Even though if you're depressed and sad, you can do anything with your life. You have to do something, right? But do not do nothing. Yep. What do you think of getting old? What do you think of getting old? Do you still plan to keep trying to achieve new goals, or do you put your feet up? I don't think I will ever stop. Now, I might want to take a break, but I don't think I will ever stop. And this is something that, look, it's been close to 10 years at this point. It's been close to 10 years. Just every single day, I wake up thinking about relationship. What topic do I want to talk about? Like, it's whatever you focus on expands, okay? Same thing with fear. You're always fearful. Oh my God, what's she gonna think about me? She probably thinks I'm not trying to be a creeper, but I do want to talk to her. It's like, look, just go walk up and talk to her and be like, what's the worst thing that could happen? She'd be like, ew, no, that's probably the worst. Ew, get away from me. It's like, all right, well, have a great day, right? It doesn't mean if you are all, wait, it doesn't matter if you don't feel old, you can do anything with your young person. Yeah, and a part of that is, well, taking care of yourself mentally, physically, right? Emotionally, all that matters. What's up, Hannah? So, let's see. I stopped on feminine energy is uncertain. It's being unsure. And it's our job as a guy to make her feel a little bit more certain. It's like, look, I understand. And then you show her. Let's go, Ellie. All right, now, so let's say she disrespects you by calling you things like, hey, stupid, hey, idiot. You gotta nip it in the bud, right? So you can't continue to do that. It's just, you're not gonna stick around. For that. So, on quoting Coach Corey Wayne again, and the reason why I quote him so much is because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And if it wasn't for him being where I'm at, you guys wouldn't be here listening and watching. Because he has taught me so much more than I could ever imagine. Okay? So I would highly suggest, whether you're a guy, whether you're a girl, it doesn't matter. As long as you're a person and you understand English, okay? Go listen to him, because I judged him in the beginning. I did. I was like, what does this bald white dude know? He old, right? Man, he knows his shit. Now, because I love his philosophy. I love his philosophy. I love how when he talks, he knows what he's talking about. And on top of that, he's no longer playing games. He's no longer playing games. And that's the beauty of that, because a lot of people, when they think about games, it's like, well, how do I get my girlfriend back when she left? Oh, you could give her no contact. If you give her no contact, the best way to get someone else's attention is to remove yours, right? Okay, so if I remove my contact and I no longer text her, I no longer watch her stories, she's gonna probably wonder but what if she comes back? Well, I never changed. So everything that I have done that caused her to leave me in the beginning, it's going to happen again. So my personal advice, which is also coach's advice, he was like, well, you want to become the most attractive self again. Well, how do you do that? By changing who you are, by changing the way you approach things. It's becoming more, if you're a guy and you're watching this and you're masculine, becoming more masculine. That's how you become more attractive again. So in his quote, part of his problem, right? Part of most men's problem, which most guys in this situation have, is really an attraction problem. A lot of times when guys get stuff like, oh, my girl told me to give her space and things like that, if you're not smothering her, she's not going to ask for space. It means that you're smothering her. So that's an example. Okay. I hope your Saturday's been well. Lots of fun. I have haters and bullies, no friends, lonely. Okay. Let me finish this, okay? So if you're vacillating, and this by coach, if you're vacillating back and forth between being masculine and being a leader and taking charge, being a leadership, being the leader, leading the relationship, and being a man, you're going to be attractive. That's what's going to happen. If you remain masculine, you're going to be attractive. So a lot of times when guys get stuff like, oh, she's telling me I need space, or she's not ready yet and all that, it's because you're displaying a lot of behavior that's causing her to not feel attracted to you. So by changing how you act, you're going to be more attractive. Okay. But now on the other side, on the flip side of the coin is, if you vacillate back and forth between being masculine and then being feminine, and you're the guy in the relationship and you're the masculine figure, but now you're acting very feminine, you're being soft, you're acting like a doormat, you're letting her walk all over you, letting her push you around, she's lost respect for you. And in the process, you don't stand up for yourself, you start acting very indecisive, and you're not being a leader in the relationship, she's not going to respect you. So a lot of it is knowing where you want to go and where you want to be, and having her come with you and join the ride. So a lot of times, if you want to think about this in this perspective, you're the person in charge of driving this fun bus. That's what coach says, all right? He's like, you're this guy enjoying this time, you're driving the fun bus. You're the one that's guiding them, because you're gonna do it regardless. So in my eyes, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's just say I'm single, right? If I'm single and I see a lady that I am attracted to and I want to get to know her, I'm genuinely curious. Hey, she's beautiful. Why? Because she is. But I want to get to know her. I want to make sure that, look, beauty is common. A good character is not. So I want to see does she have beauty, brains, and is she fun, easygoing, easy to get along with? Because life is already difficult enough. So how am I going to have this type of relationship that I want to build? Well, first by writing down what you want, and then act accordingly and work towards that, so that you can have that law of attraction, like attracts like. So if you want someone that's easygoing, easy to get along with, well, are you easygoing? Are you easy to get along with? Are you fun? Are you playful? Do you take shit too damn serious all the time? If you are, then you're probably not very fun, and you're gonna cause her to not want to be around you. And you know what? I get it. We human, people make mistakes and things happen. How quickly can you get back into your center? So these are questions that you have. These are valuable questions. Okay. And by acting consistently, being a man, that is how, or being masculine, if you're the guy and you're the masculine, I always have to say that because people will say, hey, but what if I'm a guy and I'm a feminine dude? Then be feminine. Then you should be who you are. And what you should be is not important to other people. Okay? I want a girl, but I don't want them just to take my money and leave. Well, like attracts like. So if you value yourself, you're not going to allow your power to be, or your worth, in other words, to be in your dollars, in your bank account. Because you know what, men who complain, I hear this shit all the time. Men who complains about, oh, she only want, like, if you have money, that's how you get girls. Well, what kind of girls do you want? Do you want gold diggers? Because that's who you're attracting right now. And if you attract them and that's what they want, because you think your life is about, oh shit, if I have money, girls will come. Well, guess what? They're going to be more gold diggers in your life. And if that's the type of relationship that you want, don't be upset about it. Okay. Does that mean the tree has... I don't know what that means. But as a guy, if you're a man in the relationship, you got to be decisive. You have to know where you want to be. Because if you're the leader in the relationship and you're supposed to be leading feminine energy, your woman in your life, you have to make sure you know where you want to be. And whether or not she wants to come in for the ride, that's all up to her. Love is allowing. And if you know where you want to be, you know where you want to go, you're fun, you're easygoing, you're easy to get along with, you make her happy, she's going to associate being happy and fun being with you, she's not going to want to leave you. No woman that's head over heels in love with a guy would ever want to leave a man. I've never heard it like, oh, I have to leave. Maybe if she's like moving and logistically, she's like, I don't want to leave. Maybe you're too young, right? Like, hey, maybe you're in your teenage, but my family's moving overseas and I don't think it's going to work out. Well, okay. Well, if it's not going to work out logistically, then sure. Okay. She doesn't really have much of a choice, but hey, you know what? If there's ever a time you're single, I'm single, I don't want to lose you, but you know, like maybe you're a teenager, right? I don't want to lose you, but you know, your family's moving and I don't think it's going to work out with this. And I totally understand. And I want you to be happy. Of course, this is not what I was thinking when I was a teenager, but it's like, I want you to be happy. And you know, if you love that person, you want them to be happy with whoever they're with, I have exes where if one of my guy friends be like, damn, I still find your ex attractive, I'll be like, absolutely. I think you should. If I think you guys are a good match, then I think you guys should work together. You try it out. Why? Because just because I'm not in a relationship with her, it doesn't mean that she shouldn't be happy, because that's how you give. You can't give what you don't have. And if you can't give that, then what makes you think you're going to have a loving relationship? All right. So that being said, I'm going to go on and talk about my summary, which is slide number 1, why respect is important in a relationship. No woman that loves a man will ever disrespect him. Self-respect is accepting yourself, is acceptance of yourself as a person, as a whole person. It doesn't mean that you're perfect. In fact, everyone deserves respect. Disrespect in a relationship, form of disrespect looks like silent treatment, being kind of jealous, betrayal of trust, belittling, talking down on somebody. Those are examples. Okay. And I already told you my story, right? Like I said, although it wasn't really direct, it has a lot of correlations with how I viewed myself, and how I viewed myself bled into my relationships. So I didn't know how to maintain my composure. I lost my shit more often and then I was also taking a lot of shit from people. And so on top of that, I wasn't happy. So then now my question to you is if you're living in this life right now and you're not happy, I want you guys to ask yourself questions like, well, am I happy with my job? No, then why are you in it? Well, I need money. I need money to pay the bills. I get it. You got to put a roof over your head. You need food on the table. You need light. You need to live. I understand. But are you doing other things when you come back home, when you have some spare time? I get it. You might be tired, but what is your standard? What do you want? If you're watching this, chances are you want an extraordinary life and you don't want a mediocre life. And if you're watching this, you're like, shit, I might have a 10, 12-hour shift. But if I come back home and I take a quick nap and drawing something that I love doing and I want to learn more about drawing, well, guess what? You're going to invest those times. Even if you put in 30 minutes to an hour a day for 5 days, you're going to have 2.5 to 5 hours a week. And if you multiply that by 4, you're going to have what's that? 10 hours to 10 to 20 hours an entire month. So think about that. If you do it consistently for a full year, it's about consistency. It's about doing something that you love, because if you don't love what you do and you don't enjoy, you're not going to be very good at it. You might be good, but you're not going to surpass being great. So how are you going to become your most successful self and become your most attractive self? Harris? It's all love, man. It's all love. Thank you. Appreciate it. But that's, really, it's the story that you constantly tell yourself. Before, I was telling myself, I was like, look, you ain't shit. Why am I here? Like, I was asking a lot of questions, because in reality, I didn't want to go outside and fail. It means that if I go outside and I tried certain things, I didn't want to fail. So not doing anything felt more comfortable. But that's not where masculine energy flourishes. And if I'm not going out there breaking through barriers, overcoming challenges, and doing the things and having a focus and having a mission that I want to do in my life, what makes you think I could lead a relationship? Ain't no woman in this earth will want to be with me. So if I'm leading myself and I'm going around in circles, that's not leading. And eventually, people aren't stupid. They're going to catch on. Hey, look, we've been around this forest a million times. We got to do something a little different. I've seen this tree at least 10 times. We're going in circles. So how are you going to lead that relationship? So I had to break that. It means that going out there and trying new things and believing in the process of knowing it. And in the beginning, I didn't really have anyone. I didn't know what to search for. I'm so happy I stumbled across Coach Corey Wayne. Go look him up on YouTube. Listen, buy his book, How to Be a 3% Man by Coach Corey Wayne. I don't care if you're a woman, you're watching this. You should read that book, because then you can understand how a man thinks and how can I make his life easier by understanding them. Because us as guys, we're this 3% man. At least I'm trying to be, right? I'm trying to be this 3% man to understand women, and men who understands women are loved by women. So that you have to understand, you have to take the steps of doing things. More people do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. More people do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. The pain of constantly going back. Damn, it's 12 o'clock. I schedule myself. I have to pay attention for the next hour of reading this book so that I could gain proper knowledge, so that I could go out there and apply it. Like, it takes a lot. More people be like, damn, I don't want to fail. But if I don't do it, I can't fail, right? Then I won't do it. Well, you're going to be stuck exactly where you're at. So thank you, Randy. Appreciate you. Now, all right. Lastly is how to regain respect. So most guys in this situation is really having an attraction problem. So most guys that come to me and they be like, hey, I have a girl, she left and I want her back. My biggest takeaway from that is you're already in the wrong mindset. I want my ex back. I get it. I understand what you want, but that's the poor mindset. You want a richer mindset. How is that? Well, let me explain it to you. I get that you want your ex back, but wanting your ex back means that I'm only going to do things so that I could please her. So you're going to become this people pleaser anyway. So it's not going to attract her. So my advice is always to become your most attractive self again. Like I said, from Coach, it's not from me. Okay. So from Coach, become your most attractive self. Find the hobbies that you like. Continue doing it. Become your most successful self, whatever success means to you. And in my eyes, if I could remember this properly, now there's a test for myself. But Earl Nightingale, a quote that he says was, Success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So that means that whatever success means to you, what does success mean? Does success mean having $100,000 in your bank account? Does it mean having 10,000? Does it mean becoming a school teacher? That's something that you always wanted to do. Becoming the best accountant, becoming the best janitor. I don't care. Whatever you want, whatever success means to you, you go for that. That is successful. And if you feel successful, well, guess what? It's going to bleed out into other areas of your life. And when you start leading yourself and you start loving the things that you do and you're excited about life, life attracts people. And they're like, well, how come Mitchell is so happy? How come Mitchell enjoys all the things that he does? It's because I have to create the life and lifestyle for myself. And so if I'm excited about life, someone's gonna look at me that maybe is not as excited about life. They'd be like, damn, I want what he has. What is he taking? It's not anything. Maybe drink some caffeine or something, right? But I want what Mitchell has. How come he has that? Can I get that? Can I attain that? And the answer is yes, you can. You can attain that. And if I could do it, anybody else could. I'm no different than any regular ass tree in the forest. Right? Everybody could do this. Everybody has the potential. Most people get stuck in their head. And you know, if there's any advice, change the story and change your life. Okay. That being said, thank you guys. This is the end of my live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do like it, hit a like, hit subscribe, share with your friends. I have social media. I respond a little bit better on Instagram. Sometimes I'm on TikTok live. That being said, that is the end of the show. And thank you guys for attending. All right. I catch you guys tomorrow. All right. Peace.